Good morning, fellow citizens, and thank you for joining us today to share in our celebration of young South Africans and to talk about what we can do to offer the youth of this country more and better opportunities in life. Now, I'm sorry we're not doing this in person, but in these times we have to be cautious and we can't take any unnecessary risks. But still, we're reaching thousands of young people as this event is broadcast across the country. You, the young people of South Africa, may be the generation facing the biggest challenges right now. But as my young colleague Leola said a few minutes ago, you're also the generation with the power to actually do something about it. You have the numbers. You can make a real difference. You need to realize the power you hold in this relationship between government and the people. As long as our democracy works, and I assure you it does still work, then all the power lies with you. What you choose to do with this power will make or break the future of this country. Now, you may be watching this broadcast and wondering, what could a political party possibly still offer me that I haven't heard before? Why should I believe any of it? And I can understand why many young people have become disillusioned with politics. Year after year, politicians have been making the same promises. And year after year, these promises are broken. The situation today for young South Africans leaving school or leaving college or university seems to be more hopeless than ever before. Unemployment is at a record high. Poverty is at a record high. And crime, gangs and drugs are claiming more and more of our youth than ever before. While life gets harder for young South Africans, we see politicians living it up way beyond even their fat salaries. These are the same politicians who tell you there's no money for tertiary education, yet they're driving around in cars that cost more than a big house. These are the same politicians who tell you there's no money to put more cops on the street to keep your community safe, and they've just awarded themselves an increase in their own VIP protection. So, I understand if you've become cynical. What good has it done to listen to the promises of politicians if these promises always go nowhere? And that is a very, very good question. And here's my answer. If you're basing your expectation on the promises of politicians alone, you're using the wrong criteria. Anybody can make promises and pledges. And over the next 4 months leading up to the elections, you're going to hear everyone doing this. Because that's the easy part. That's the easy thing to do. The hard part is delivering on your word. And that's what you should be looking at. Not what does this party say, but what does this party do? If you're choosing a government, whether it's local, provincial or national, it's track record that matters far more than its promises. The DA may govern only one of the 9 provinces for now, and it may govern less than 10% of the municipalities in South Africa for now. But what it does in these places puts the ANC government to shame. And let me give you some examples of this on this Youth Day. Let me tell you about a few things the DA government in the Western Cape has done to increase opportunities for young people and to give them a better start in life. Let's begin with education, which is arguably the best way a government can equip young people for the future. And under a DA government, learners in the Western Cape have a better chance of completing a quality education than anywhere else. The Western Cape has the lowest school dropout rate in the country, which means that more people stay in school until they reach their matric exams. This sets them off on a better path in life and opens far more doors for them. Some schools in the Western Cape, and specifically on the Cape Flats, are starting pilot programs for robotics and coding. And in Saldanha Bay, there's a project underway to train high school teachers in digital technology. It's also the only province where the government continued to feed hungry school children throughout the lockdown. Everywhere else where the ANC governs, these school feeding programs were shut down and children had to go hungry. Again, always look at what a governing party does and not simply what it says. Once these learners leave school, the Western Cape government also has a number of programs to give young people work experience, skills training, and a foot in that job's door. One of these programs is called the Premier Advancement of Youth Project. which gives matriculants work experience in the various departments of the provincial government through mentorship and on-the-job training. Since the PAY project was launched in 2012, almost 5,000 matriculants have benefited from this internship program. One of the biggest employers in the Western Cape is agriculture, and the provincial government runs various human capital development programs in this sector that offer young people the chance to develop skills and access work. These programs include bursaries, scholarships, and internships, as well as a chance to enroll in an agricultural mentorship program called the Young Professional Persons Program. The Western Cape Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport also has a program in partnership with various foundations and NGOs, which they call Year Beyond. This offers 18 to 25-year-olds crucial work experience and a pathway to further studies. It also teaches young people to become active citizens, and that's something we're going to need a lot more of if we want to fix South Africa. An issue that affects the youth in the Western Cape more than anywhere else is the threat of gangs and drugs. And while policing by SAPs might be the responsibility of national government, the DA is not prepared to simply stand by and watch as communities fall victim to a lack of visible policing. That's why the Western Cape government and the City of Cape Town launched the Law Enforcement Advancement Plan, or LEAP, at the beginning of last year. These extra boots on the ground in Mitchell's Plain have already had a huge impact in making that community safer, and the province is on track to meet its target of deploying 1,000 LEAP officers on the ground by October. The provincial government also has something called the Youth Safety Ambassador Program, which aims to place 1,000 young people at schools, municipalities, NGOs and other locations around the province to serve as youth violence prevention facilitators. Now that's what it looks like when a government does less talking and more doing. But if we're talking about youth opportunities, perhaps the most important indicator of all is the employment rate. And 4 times a year, when these numbers are released by Stats SA, we are reminded that no other province comes close to the DA-run Western Cape when it comes to jobs. Our country is in a severe unemployment crisis, with more than 43% of working-age South Africans unable to find a job, and most of them are under the age of 30. We have one of the highest youth unemployment rates in the world. But the expanded rate of unemployment in the Western Cape is a full 17.5 percentage points lower than the average for the other 8 ANC-run provinces. Are we satisfied with this? No, of course not. We need to get the unemployment rate all the way down to single figures. But at least DA governments are in the fight against unemployment. ANC governments have given up this fight a long time ago. And that's what you get in the DA, a party that will fight for you every step of the way, a party that will never lose hope for the future of young people in this country. We believe the war on unemployment can be won, and we know how to do it. We believe the war on poverty and hunger can be won, and we know how to do it. We believe the war against criminals, gangs, and drugs can be won, and we know how to do it. We believe there can be a bright future for every young South African, and we know how to unlock it. But don't just take my word for it, because talk is cheap. Look at our track record. Compare the DA's record to that of the ANC on any issue, from service delivery to education, from job creation to community safety. Ask yourself, which of these 2 governments would be most likely to help you fulfill your dreams and live a full and meaningful life? Young South Africans, go out on the registration weekend of the 17th and 18th of July and make sure you are correctly registered to vote in the October elections, particularly if you're a first-time voter. And then make sure you do your bit as an active young citizen of this country to choose a government that doesn't just talk about all these things, but actually gets it done. Happy Youth Day, South Africa, and thank you very much.